Hi, I'm Dawn.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Mel.
Welcome to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We are here to discuss awareness, growth, and healthy relationships.
Are you ready?
Hey, Ash. Hey, Mel. How are you guys?
Great. How are you?
I'm
Great.
wonderful. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Great week it's been.
Yeah. And I am so excited because we have Rob back with us
Yeah.
again.
So there's no break, right, everybody? There's really was no break. We made a break. It's not been a week. It's been 30 seconds. Um,
I
so
love this podcast.
we're gonna pick up where we did
Left
last
off.
week with air quotes. Um, Abandonment. I said at the end of last time was I hear there was maybe you tell me if I'm wrong. There was some abandonment you were feeling with Rob doing all of these things and being so busy. Did you feel abandoned?
100%.
And
I
before
did
you
feel
go
very
too
abandoned by him.
before you go too deep
I think.
into his abandonment, could you touch on what abandonment you have had previously and how that affected before we get into that moment where you felt abandoned by Rob?
Um, so abandonment is a big thing that has followed me. Unfortunately, I had a mom that had me at a very young age, and she had some problems with addiction. So she would leave me with people um, since I was a child, like a little baby. But then at 2.5, she left me for good. She gave me to my grandparents, and she would just come in and out of my life periodically. So, um,
What about your father?
my father, my biological father passed. I don't know. I never
Okay.
met him. I never met him.
Mhm.
And um, and then my grandparents raised me, and um, then when their relationship fell apart and they couldn't handle a 11-year-old anymore, they found my mom, and then they gave me back to my mom, and I felt abandoned by them, by my
And so
grandparents.
you were with
So
your
then,
mom
and then I
for
was with my mom till she died at 8, when I was from 12 to 11, 12 to 18. And in those time periods, she was the type of drinker. She was a binge drinker. So she could stay sober for 6 months, but then disappear for a month.
So
So
there was repeated abandonment by
abandonment,
her.
abandonment by her, and not a lot of direction. I didn't have a lot of parenting.
and I think I heard in the last podcast you said that you were on your own in Montreal from like
Yeah,
15.
I left home the first time at 13, and I lived with in a room. I got a little room. And then again at 15, and then I moved to Montreal for a little bit, for about a summer. Came back. Then I was really serious about my life. I tried to go back to school, but then again, my mom's drinking and her drug use was out of control, and then she got really sick, and then she died. And then
So
the
abandonment for
ultimate
you.
abandonment from my mom, the
Mm.
death.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it sounds like abandonment for you is like
That's
imagine,
my
right?
core
You get a
wound. That's my
sliver in the same place over and over, and you just pick at that sliver, and here I'm walking out on the porch, and all of a sudden I get a sliver in the exact same space,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Never
right?
can heal. Hmm.
So with that being said, and how deep it was for you, can you now go into when you felt abandoned by Rob?
So I felt mostly abandoned by him when he started to do things for himself, to better
Mm.
himself. He you know, started losing a lot of weight and got really, really super duper healthy. I was trying to keep up with him with the exercise and the eating healthy.
Were you
Um,
jealous? at all?
Was I jealous? I was fucking, of course I was jealous.
I mean, what woman watches her
I was
husband stop
scared.
drinking soda and lose 20 pounds and she
Right?
goes to the gym for 6 hours and can't lose five? What woman isn't
Yeah.
jealous?
I was
True.
really,
But
really, and he was happy. He was happy, but he
so,
was happy in himself.
so
He was
I,
happy without you
Yeah.
yeah, so I
and
Although,
hear
your
the
mind.
mistress being soccer, but I also hear using yet that terminology used in the last podcast, the mistress was also him. All his time and energy was going into something else
Other
other
than
than
Mel
you.
yeah,
and the family and the relationship.
I felt like I was last on the totem pole.
Do you
Um,
feel you were last compared to your children too?
to Caden, Caden always came first for both of us.
Yeah.
So
So
the
you
fact,
were at the very
but
bottom.
Caden and Rob, I don't think this was manipulation at all, but Rob coached Caden, and him and Caden were together all the time,
Okay.
and they had a lot in common.
So were you jealous of Caden too? And I'm asking like
Let
that
me
Yeah,
that's a
rephrase let
I
me
was, I
rephrase
was,
that
I was,
question. Let
yeah.
me let me rephrase that question. Were you jealous of the relationship Rob had with Caden?
I'm not even gonna I get why you're rewording it, but I feel like sometimes the immaturity when it comes with jealousy, is something as simple, were you jealous of Caden? Because I have I've been there jealous of my sister because of the attention she got. I wasn't, and it was just a basic jealousy of this person, and right, because I didn't have the maturity to understand that it was jealousy of the relationship.
Gotcha. I see what you mean.
You know what? When he was younger, not so much because I was really involved in the mother aspect of being a soccer mom, and with the other parents and stuff. And I was like, it was a little community that we were in. As he got older, um, I don't think I wasn't jealous because my relationship with Caden was very different. I'm sure there's things that Caden and I have that Rob is jealous of.
Hmm.
Extremely jealous. Like not extremely,
I
but
think that's normal with two parents who are very involved. I think that's very normal.
however, I felt abandoned, but I couldn't have given you those words. So instead, I would just become very like passive aggressively angry. Like smile, but I cut with my words and my looks and my cold demeanor.
So what was the actions that we took to get out of that? Right. So that's, the 33 years and the things that you guys have gone through and the things you have done to get through those things. Like, right. What was it that got you past?
I got myself a hobby. I got into sports myself.
Mhm.
I joined a soccer league. I
What,
also I
but
joined a soccer league.
what happened that made you, okay, I need to shift into finding something? That's what I want to know. Like I think that's where I was headed with all this jealousy, whatever it was. What clicked that you were like,
I'm
whoa,
not going to
wait
tell
a
you it.
minute.
I don't think it was awareness. Honestly, I love to tell you, oh, it was this great awareness, but at the time, I don't think I had it. I think that what shifted was survival,
Okay.
Self-preservation.
self-preservation
So
for the
something
marriage.
within you was just like, holy crap, I've got to do this. And all right, this feels good. So let
Something
me do it.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, something different had to take place. I mean, then the accident was really what changed everything for us. That was 10 years ago, so I would have been 43. And the
So
accident.
your difference, Mel, I just want to go back to this. What you chose yourself to start working out, to eat different. What did that look like, those choices for you? And
I think it's because Rob told me I needed to get a hobby. I think he
okay,
told me
I
I
mean,
needed something. I think he told me. I think Rob said
I think that's legit. I get it.
I
you need,
absolutely get it.
I think he said you need something. And you know what happened? I actually started to lean in more into my girlfriends. Yeah,
Okay.
that's when I really started to lean on my girlfriends. I think I had something going on every single night of the week
Mhm.
with
Okay,
a
so he
friend.
has his stuff going on over here instead of you sitting over here moping and
Because I did that for
just
Waiting,
years. I did that for
right,
years.
right.
Yeah.
right? So
You're
you
like,
started living your own life and you
Mhm.
guys were,
yes.
it sounds like while married and together, we were on two separate paths, doing two separate things, living two separate lives together.
And there was very
Yeah.
minimal crossover
Okay.
of healthy to join together.
I got kind of healthy, like by the time.
When you say crossover, do you mean
N-
like her in my world and I'm in her world?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Where it's there's a
Well,
balance where it's you still have separate lives. However, I'm going to show up for you in your world and support you, and I'm right vice versa.
Or
so
was it just we live these separate lives?
Yeah, and that's okay too.
yeah, you know what? Well, for me, it was that, okay, we're both individuals in this, and we need to have our own sort of focuses outside of our marriage and stuff to keep things healthy. But it's also important to note too, like when Mel said that, she decided, okay, I'm going to get a hobby. I'm going to join soccer league. And she did it with her coworkers. So there was like, it was a women only. So there was, I don't know, 13 of them. And then, of course, they go, hey, Rob, will you coach us? Right. So I got involved. So again, it was perfect because it brought in that feeling for me of like, oh my God, I'm important to them. They want to lean on my expertise. And I get to, have fun watching my wife, play a sport that I desperately love. Right.
Mel,
So
was that your intention? Is that why soccer? Was that aware at like you nodded your head, but was that aware of that at the time? Or do you think at the time it was just, hey,
Manipulation.
maybe this'll work?
Was it? Yeah.
I don't think it wasn't intentional manipulation.
Okay.
It wasn't intentional. It was I'm trying to find a common ground to feel a connection with him.
And
So it
this is
was
something I
manipulation in a
enjoy. And well,
way,
but
And
right, like this is
but
something
did
it's
a lot of
okay.
I did a lot of things to feel connected to him at the
Yeah,
time.
I can
I got
absolutely see
one
that feeling.
100%.
one thing is I got into football because he loved football on Sundays. So I got into
Okay.
watching football with him. And I would sit there for hours and then I got like genuinely I got into it.
I was just going to ask that. Did you
Yeah.
genuinely
Genuinely
enjoy it?
eventually get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But I did because it brought like we had so much fun watching football.
well, I mean, it stemmed from her going to her first live game, which was the Buffalo Bills versus the Patriots.
Heck yeah.
And she jumped right on. Like she's like, this is absolutely amazing. I get it now. And unfortunately, she's a Bills fan. And I mean, I can't
I
hold that
love the Bills. Let's go, Bills. Yeah.
But and I had to kind of go into his world, but he's also goes into my world.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
with doing that, sorry, go ahead, Dawn.
I was just going to say, and when I'm talking about manipulation, I'm not talking about bad manipulation,
Yeah.
just
Or
No.
intentional
exclusively bad or
manipulation.
right. It's but there is this place of I manipulate me, right? It's not always have to be manipulation of someone else. I'm manipulating me to make my to fit into somebody else's world, right?
Right.
Um, that can be it can also can be good or bad, but I don't want you to think that's the only when I say manipulation, I'm only talking about bad.
100%.
But I also want you guys to know too, though, that there was also a secret world going on with me too. Like,
Okay.
where I wasn't doing very, very well, where um, I would have coping mechanisms that weren't so great, where I would crave uh running away. Like I would just any reason I could get away for a weekend, I would take it.
Mm,
Where was
okay.
that secret world, Mel? Was it like a secret world on the internet? Was it like a secret world within yourself? Where
No, it
was
was in
that?
my head. It was a
It was in
whole,
your head.
yeah, I had created this whole other world where if I wanted to, I could just lie down and I'd be in a whole different world in my head.
Mm.
And it was I think I was really hard to reach back then. I was like that.
I mean, you prefaced it before about saying that you leaned on your girlfriends at the time, and you did, right? You almost, I would say every second weekend, you guys were going to do something. So it was always, and it's funny you say that because I never really saw it as you escaping, more as you saying, well, idle hands sort of thing. I might as well, go and spend some time with the girls, quality time. So,
But I was leaning into them for my emotion, like maybe what I should have leaned into my husband with. I was leaning into girlfriends.
So I'm going to flip the question of jealousy. Rob, did you
Hmm.
find yourself jealous? And again, we'll put that in air quotes
yeah.
of now Mel's escaping every 2 weeks and not being present, showing up in our relationship.
So I wouldn't say I was jealous of Mel or jealous of the relationship. I was jealous of like, oh fuck, I would love, to have a guy weekend kind of thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
not like she never said you can't have one.
Hmm.
And the guy friends that are married to the women that would do this kind of stuff, they're like, well, how come the women get to go and we can't? And I'm like, guys,
So fucking
then,
go.
yeah, book something, right? Organize something and then we can do it, but we just never did. So it wasn't so much a jealousy as more of like, ah, damn it, man, I wish we had done that. And
Okay.
Right.
right. And it wasn't like, oh, Mel's gone and she's left me with all this shit to do. It not at all. Like she took care of her stuff. But she was like, okay, next weekend I'm going with the girls back to the cottage. I'm like, okay, well, go have fun.
Hmm.
And there was no jealousy on that part. Like I didn't begrudge her the
Right.
fact that she left, but it was more of oh man, that's a great idea. Why the hell can't I do that?
I love the hindsight being 2020 factor of right. It's here it was staring you of the men in the face, and you couldn't see it because I believe that has been a case for me. I don't think that's a man woman thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I I think at we kind of we got to get the fuck out of our own way sometimes to be able to see what's right in front of us where you guys could have picked up and you could have went and it's that's always interesting. It's like why can't we see something so simple but we 5 years from now like oh well shit we could have.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. 100%. And you're right. Hindsight's 2020. But we are our own obstacles.
Right.
And as a coach, I used to tell that to my players all the time. I'd always say, the only person that can really tell you no is yourself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, once you're in your head, it sometimes is a lot harder to get the hell out of your own head than it is anything else. So yeah, there wasn't any jealousy towards Mel of like, you've abandoned me and, screw you, that kind of stuff. It was
Yeah.
again just that own perspective of damn it, right? Could have done this myself. And it even goes further now where I actually have friends that will say, well, instead of going out and spending money, why can't we do A, B, C, D, E, F, G that, is better for me? And I'm like, okay, well then book it and invite us, right? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
right. It's almost like you said, Don, you just got to get out of your head and do things. And I think part of it though is that fear of, well, if I do this, someone may not like me.
Right. Oh,
Or
100%.
That's a
if
huge.
I if I
100%.
if I do this, then I'm going to end up excluding this person, and that's
Yep.
not fair. Whereas
Yeah.
we have to realize that that person is an adult, and that person can make their own damn decisions. So if they don't want to go, it's on them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then, maturity takes place too.
Yeah.
Like, once you hit 40,
For some people.
you see it different. But I saw it differently when I turned 40. Like my 20s I was one person in my 20s. I was one person in my 30s.
That's
I
so
was becoming
big.
a different person in my 40s where maturity was starting to take effect. And I didn't require him as much as I thought
Wait
I
till your
did.
50s. It's the most freeing decade ever.
I am in my
Oh,
50s.
we're in our 50s.
We're free.
I
Not nowadays.
I just like the change from I am 42, 43, 42.
You're
I don't know.
42, yeah.
43. I do this every time.
She's a
Yes.
baby.
She is a baby.
So, but it really the change that happens in the 40s. And I don't know if for me it's because I've been in recovery and working on myself and I've gotten this wisdom with this age. I don't know exactly what it is, but just the amount of awareness that comes to people in their 40s and in that decade, there's definitely something to be said for maturity in that
Mhm.
growth.
Yeah.
Well, you also live a lot, right? So if
Oh,
you think about it, that's 4 decades of experience where you have put a lot of experience into your pocket, into your backpack, and you now have a different perspective,
right.
or like Ashley said, most of us do within our 40s. And I think that really is the key to it is that you have all these experiences, all this new knowledge or old knowledge, and you're able to lean on it now. So yeah, definitely 40s
Yeah.
is that tipping point, but
Right. I mean, there are the decades are meant for, I personally believe the decades are meant for a reason, right? 20s are for fun. 20s, right? It's whatever. 30s, it's a fucking hard decade
mhm.
because it's I'm working, I'm having children that are
Young family,
actually,
yeah.
right? I'm growing. 40s, the kids are starting to get older and it takes a little less work with them. The work
Yeah.
changes with them. And then Mel and Rob, you both know, 50s, they're fucking grown, right? It's a whole new freedom that it's kind of like you get to go back to your 20s in a way. But better.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
of the awareness that comes with it, the growth that comes with it.
exactly. And I think there's nothing wrong with any of the decades. But I do believe that every one of them looks different and
Yeah.
changes because of the circumstances. And I think I could see if you can stick out a relationship in your example, and I'm not trying to wrap this up. I'm thinking about this. If you can stick out the late 20s and 30s and the 40s, I would assume the 50s would get a hell of a lot easier.
They do.
They do.
Yep.
So that brings us back around to what Mel was getting ready to talk about. Mel's wanted to talk about this. This, for me, this feels like a major life changer for Mel. And
Yep.
I'm sure for Rob it was huge too, but I almost feel like, and maybe it's because I don't know Rob as well as I know Mel, but I almost feel like the accident and the TBI was almost like Mel, you got this huge awareness and this huge growth and this huge things out of going through this with Rob.
Well, I don't know you guys as well as Ashley does.
Hmm.
Um, and Rob, you can talk about, obviously share as much as you want. You said you were in an auto accident. Can you give us kind of what that means? Because I know it was a major change. And I want to be able to understand for
Yeah.
what Mel is about ready to talk about.
Sure, absolutely. Before I jump there, I just want to add something to what we were talking about with the decades and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I'm actually going to quote Luke Bryan because he
Oh.
in a song he has, he says or he sings, one of his lyrics is that knowledge is wasted on the young,
Ah,
right? So it's important to know that, if we had the knowledge now in our 50s when we were in the 20s,
yeah.
one, I wouldn't have experienced half the fun I had, and two, I
Facts.
wouldn't have made those mistakes, right, to learn from them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, good old Luke. Thank you, Luke.
Yep.
So for the accident, like Mel said, everything was going in the right direction for me, right? So I just been promoted. I'm now at like my work environment. They actually made these posters and put them all over the entire environment that said, if you want something resolved, you go see Rob. Rob is your guy.
Wow.
Rob's the man. So I was heading in the right direction at a career level. Then in soccer, I've been handed all these top teams, and I'm part of what we were called the Top Gun program, which
Mm,
trained our, quote unquote elite players in, certain aspects of the game, and then being responsible for the younger age group goalkeepers. So there was a lot of success there as well. And then, being in the gym, I'd lost, 112 pounds. I was
wow.
the fittest I'd ever
Congrats.
been, just crazy, crazy. But it was, excuse me, it was excessive though. Like I mean, it was just nuts. Nobody else I'd ever recommend doing what I was doing and stuff because it really wasn't that healthy despite the results. But it was the right thing for me, right? So I was moving forward. Things were great. I had accomplished so much. I felt like, I was on top in the world. And then this car accident happened. And as Mel said, everything was derailed. Like within, immediately 2 weeks, I realized I couldn't work anymore because the head trauma was just too much. I was making like critical errors at work. to the point where HR called me in and said, we love you. We think you need some time off. Take the time off you need and come back. Hindsight again, what I thought would be 3 weeks off turned into now we're 10 years later and, things have changed. Because of the TBI and the physical disabilities from it, I couldn't coach anymore. I gained all the weight back. I couldn't work out, despite everything trying to happen. So
How many surgeries did you have?
I've had 6 surgeries from the car accident
Yeah.
and still, suffering through what I've been told will be chronic pain for the rest of my life and a traumatic brain injury. So things drastically changed. But I think what really helped, and you asked about, 50s being easier, the early 40s to 50s, that accident gave me a new perspective on life,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
It really was that epiphany moment of, you know what? This shit just isn't important anymore, right? And then I started realizing, and it's sort of funny, and I guess tongue in cheek, sort of funny, is that when I see people now that maybe I haven't seen in 20 years, or someone I saw last week, I always automatically jump in and I give them a big hug. And
Mm,
I forgo that whole like, is it okay for me to hug you? Which is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't. It's just because I'm like, I need to live in the moment. And oh my God, I haven't seen this person. Give them a hug because I have that feeling of today is different from tomorrow. And you know what? If
yeah.
tomorrow that person's not there or I'm not here, at least I had a part in it, kind of thing. So the perspective changed for me. I think it did for Mel as well. But what also threw into it is that at the 2.5 year mark after my accident, Mel was diagnosed with breast cancer. So now we have this crazy environment of just it. I mean, I think the best term for it is it was a shit show,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So dealing with all the stuff I had to deal with, and then Mel's got to deal with her own kind of stuff. It really put a massive strain and a challenge on the relationship that we kicked the shit out of it.
Did.
So I love that. So
Yeah.
here's Rob with car accident, dealing with this 2.5 years after a major accident is nothing.
Yeah.
Um, and then Mel, you're in this 2.5 years, did is that when your awakening happened? Or did it take breast cancer? And right, as a survivor as well, I know that shift that happens with that where fuck my life, I get one and I gotta fucking live it. Or is that what happened? Or the combination of the both? Or when did the switch in your head of I gotta pull my big girl, my short girl pants up?
Um, Honestly, there was more than just the car accident.
Okay.
My, it's Caden, Rob, and I, and we were always a team. And someone came into our lives that disrupted that team so badly that there was a
Was
big
it in the
gap.
2.5 years? Sorry, I'm just trying
All
to.
came down at once. We had the
Oh,
car accident. Caden went through some really, really difficult times. And then he met somebody and it just derailed our family.
mm,
And so we had an estrangement with Caden. Rob's like going through surgeries. I have breast cancer. We're renovating the house.
oh shit, you got dumped on.
Yeah, it's a shit
It's
show.
shit
It was,
show. Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
I can't even
pretty
tell
appropriate.
you. At one point, there were days where Caden and we were so fragmented, but we're living together in a basement.
Oh,
Sure, Reynolds.
During renos, like we didn't move out.
oh, okay, okay. So
And
pound, pound, pounds going on in
So,
the background.
so you, Rob, and Kaden were all living in the basement. Rob was having his surgeries with his from his car accident. You are dealing with breast cancer, and all at the same time, Kaden has this person come into his life that's disruptive for you,
Mhm.
your y'all's relationship.
Dynamic. Yeah.
All at the same time. Um, Mel, tell me where you were, how you were feeling, where your head was, how you came out of it. What did you do? What did that look like?
um I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. The day I found out I had cancer, I went to the bar and got drunk and stayed drunk for a year. And that's just the truth.
Wow. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me about it. Was it fear? Was it anger? Was it denial? And once
Or
she
just
does,
fucking too much.
obviously, right?
I
And
it was no, it was way too, it was way too much for the cancer rob me all at once.
Hmm.
Um, and I needed to just detach for a year. So, uh, I still dealt with everything. I just dealt with it from a completely
Sorry,
different
you guys are looking at me because I'm
perspective.
shaking my head, and I just want to, the awe I have of you guys. Fuck, damn it. Um, the awe I have of you guys because right here you are in the shit show. Rob's wording is just
no other way to
perfection.
explain it, right? That's perfect. Shit show is it.
Yeah, and I was, and I'm just going to talk about myself. Like, right, I, in 6 months, I'd been diagnosed with cancer twice. My grandparents died, who were the last, in my eyes, the string of my dad, who had been gone, had passed just a few years before that, and I tried to fight for my marriage, but also with the acceptance I knew it was over and dealing with, and I'm not going to put it all out there, but you both know I've shared the story of Mark and what happened with that. Um, Dealing with all of what I thought was going on and all of that, I couldn't fight it out. And that's why I just where I keep going back to the I'm in awe of you both because you both made that continuously make that choice for each other to 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 stick it out. Whether you sat in a bar for a year, you still chose to stick it out.
I
But the
second
most
that
important,
so much.
I
Like
want to say
it,
something though. What Rob did for me during that year is he didn't judge me. He never
Mm,
shamed me. He understood because he he understood what it was like. Rob doesn't disassociate. Rob doesn't need to disassociate. Rob is that I'm going to handle this dead on. We're going to have this conversation. We're going to tackle it. I'm going to run. Like I go in the other direction and um, Rob knew he had to let me do that. And he always knew I was going to come back to him, I think.
I just wanna second what Dawn said because I mean, I think about when my ex and I split up and I was dealing with the cancer and he was dealing with addiction and recovery and rehab and detox and all of the things that were happening and going on. And I don't like I hear both of you keep thanking each other and
yeah,
you keep
yeah.
it putting the support back on each other and you keep saying Rob did this and Mel did that and I just want to I just want to really drive home to you both that in each of these situations, you didn't have to choose the other one.
Right.
You didn't have to stick it out. You didn't have to wait for the other person to come around. You didn't have to choose to fight the hard fight and recover and heal. Like you didn't have to make those choices in every one of my relationships, not even just significant others, parents, siblings, friends, when shit when the shit gets hard, right? What's that saying? When things get tough, the tough get
Tough
going.
get. Yeah.
But it's the opposite though, right? When things get hard, people run. People
And
get going, they're gone. They don't
yes.
choose each other and they don't stick it out and they don't fight for it and they don't work for it. And I
And
just hear you guys doing that.
and it's so Mel just said, and I run and I run. Mel, no, you don't.
You haven't run, you're still there.
Like,
You've come
don't.
back every single
And you
time.
know that I give you a hard time about you. Like, don't say well, like words. You didn't run, girl. You didn't run. You fucking stayed and fought. That is
True.
So you went to a bar. So you didn't run at the end of the day. When it mattered, you didn't run. You stayed
Well,
and fought for your husband
what had
and
happened,
yourself.
is I I think I was still going through, was it the medication that I was on,
Tamoxifen.
tamoxifen after, and then um Caden was really, really estranged from us. And he had called us one night and he was not well. He was not in a good place. And Rob went to get him. We hadn't seen him in a while. He was really bad. And I made the decision right there, to fight for myself, to fight for my family, to fight for Caden. And I quit drinking. I I I said, Rob, I got to show up here. It's important. I need to be here now. And I made that decision. I think the next day I only knew what I knew, and I only knew 12 steps. So I started going to AA, and that's what I knew to do.
Did you say when you kept saying I chose this and this and this? Did you say yourself? I don't know if I missed it or if you didn't say it.
I had to choose for everybody. I had to choose for me. I had to
But
choose
you
for
made
Kay,
a
and I had to
list.
But you chose yourself.
Right. But put yourself on that list.
You did choose yourself when you chose
Yeah.
to quit drinking. You may have done it for Caden. You may have done it for Rob in that moment. And in that moment, you chose yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't minimize yourself. Like, right. And I say that to you, but I do mean it with all the love in the world. Make sure you're on that list. Don't use those words like just and I run all the time and you don't. You are you you have an amazing journey and you are an amazing woman and I don't want you to ever minimize yourself.
thank you.
We always are our own worst enemies, right? Our own biggest critic. It's easy. I think in society it's easy to point at someone else for your problems, but it's also very easy to minimize your own goals and your
Work.
own wins and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
growth, exactly. Yeah.
So things got really ugly then, and it was really difficult. There was a lot of stuff. Yeah, we spiraled right down with our family. Our family broke apart. And Rob and I just kept on choosing one another. Like Caden was slinging some stuff. That person that came into our lives was evil. And
We persevered.
we persevered. We just buckled in, and we hunkered down, and we said we know what's important. We know what we love. We know. And I knew I was seeing patterns, guys. Like when you start recovery and then you start seeing the patterns, I was watching my son be me. I was watching it, and I couldn't stop it. All I knew is that we had to be the example. We had to be healthy in our marriage, in ourselves, in and we just both of us hunkered down, and we just said, okay, we just got to be our best selves through this. And we did.
Did you
Rob,
say that, Rob? Like, was that your conscious? Because I see a
Mm.
little hesitation on your face, so I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't
therapy.
think, well, yeah, I mean that's completely a different side of it. I don't think it was more of a, like Mel just said it, we decided that, we had to be a better example. I think for me personally, all of that really was very profound in my own sort of recovery of self-worth and
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff. But since the jump of that, since day one of the car accident, I was in therapy, speech therapy, talk therapy, for the very first time for me. And so it changed a lot of things for me that helped the environment, right? Made me a little bit more mature in the thought process, made me, understand things a little better.
Understand your own emotions.
Correct, 100%. And
Taught us how to take responsibility for
yeah,
ourselves.
exactly. I think the important thing, and Ashley talked on it earlier, and Don, you did very much as well, was that, you have these relationships where it just seems like one person is going one way, one's going the other. I think what's important to note is that Mel and I both, we collectively have sort of a path that is always at the same thing. Like we have one common goal kind of thing, which is our family, right? That's the important thing. So despite, I think for at least, I'm going to say the last 20 years, to be honest, from my perspective, was that we both had that, okay, sure, one might be off this way and that way, but in the end, we had the common goal
Mm,
that we were both committed to,
yeah.
right? Both had the interest and both had the stock, right? Or, as therapists will say, that the emotional bank account or that physical bank account, we both put deposits in there together, right? So it made it easier that we were both on that track as opposed to one person saying, I'm right, you're wrong, or whatever the case may be. So that really helped us navigate, that whole environment of where the, quote unquote shit show, hit the proverbial fan. So
For myself too, when I started doing recovery and stuff like that, self-awareness, my own self-awareness, where I stopped looking outside of myself but started looking inside of myself for the answers, played a big role. It took a lot of responsibility off of Rob to save
Mm,
us, to fix this. Because I remember poor Rob used to run around all the time going, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this? How are we going to fix this? And I think like one of the first things I learned in like, especially in codependency, it's not about fixing the other person. It's about the other person doesn't matter. It's always about fixing yourself. And he was fixing himself and I was fixing myself, and all of us, it just seemed that we were talking better, and we were we weren't arguing and we weren't fighting and we weren't pointing fingers at each other. We were just kind of like, it is what it is. What are we going to do? And one thing that we always did is we always checked in with each other. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
I just want to highlight something you just said, Mel, because I don't think enough people realize it. You said I was fixing myself and he was fixing himself, and somehow we just
mhm,
worked because of it. If I take care of me and I do what I need, what is best for me, what is right, what I truly believe in my heart, not what society says, not what my ego says, not what everybody else, but what I truly believe in my heart is right. And I take care of me, and the other person in the relationship takes care of them, somehow it
mhm.
just tends to work out.
Mm-hmm.
it's also a focus to on accountability, right? And I mean, prime example, there'll be a day where, I'll say something and Mel would be like, whoa, like, where did that come from? Oh, do we want to go there? And then it gives me a chance to reflect, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was fucking stupid. Like what? So you really have to have that perspective of, okay, I have a part in this. I need to, again, check myself before I wreck myself. And it helps that navigation of the communication, right? But we had to learn that.
I
Like that
never,
wasn't inept. It didn't just automatically happen. It was something we had to work together with. And
one of the things I think, and that you can attest for this, I didn't know how to ask for what I needed.
Mm.
He would ask me all the time, what do you want? Yes, like read my mind, you know what I
Yeah, because
mean?
I don't know, so read my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I had to learn to ask him for what I needed. Like
Mhm.
whenever I used to come to him with a problem, his thing is he wanted to fix it, or he would play devil's advocate. And then that would ignite my nervous system. And then I'm like, I can't talk to you. You're not listening.
Oh.
Where I learned to say to him, I need you to sit. I need you not to say a thing.
Just listen.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Please. I don't want you to fix this. But I got to get this energy out of my body. And that's how it kind of started. And then he would do the same to me. I don't want you to give me your opinion, Mel. I just need you to hear me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important to be able to hear the other side of that too, right? Like for Mel to say to Rob, I don't need your opinion. I just need you to listen. And Rob to be able to hear, oh shit, she doesn't want my opinion. Oh, I'm not allowed to fix this. I just need to sit with this. Holy
So
crap.
yeah, so that is definitely at the very beginning of doing that sort of that I guess handoff, if you will, is very hard for me because I've always been the fix it person, right?
Yeah.
Caretaker.
Even with my own self-discovery and my own, personal well-being and stuff, it's okay, well, I have this issue. Like I'll be in a session with my therapist and she'll say, well, how does that make you feel? And I'll be like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, oh shit. Immediately in my head, I go to, how am I going to fix this so I don't do it again?
Right, right.
Right. So it was really hard for Mel to say stuff like, I don't need your opinion. You don't need to fix this. Just listen. So for the first little bit, it was like, well, what the fuck am I doing here then?
Right. Why are
Right?
you telling me if you don't want my opinion?
Just go talk to the cat. You know what I mean? Like it'd be the same thing. But over time, I started to get the understanding of, oh, okay, this is just a sounding board. She wants to actually release this energy and she just needs me to be present. That was just it. So you're right. It was a hard jump from, you know, well, I'm useless. What the hell am I gonna do? What's the point? To now I'm like, okay, just do your thing and away it goes.
And you,
And it
the control of it. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rob and myself, we are both, well, of course, control is,
No, it's me.
he thinks he's more controlling. I control in different ways, but control was a big thing. And for Rob to let go of a lot of control, and because I remember in one therapy session, Rob admitted he felt responsible for my happiness.
Mm,
And one of his biggest things when we used to fight is, I can't make you happy. Nothing makes you happy. You're never happy.
yeah.
And that was one of our biggest fights because it was looking at it the wrong way. I was expecting him to make me happy. He thought he had to make me happy. And the whole time it was about me making myself happy.
Right.
And that was where the disconnect was. We didn't see that for the longest time.
And I just want to say, right, like one of the things you were just saying, Rob, was that like what's the point in being here if I'm just a sounding board? And I just want to say, from the person that needs that sounding board, right? The only way I release that energy is to verbally vent it
Oh yeah.
and to just
Yeah.
have somebody allow me to give it to them. And they are just like, okay, I'm here for it. And then we just put it away. And if I don't have that person that allows me to give it to them and then helps me put it away, then I just hold it and hold it and hold it. And so that sounding board, while for the person being the sounding board, it may not sound important, for the person that needs the sounding board, it is one of, like, if I can't have a relationship where a man will allow me to, he will be my sounding board, I can't have a relationship with him
Yeah.
because that's one of those things that I just desperately need in order to release.
Right. And I
I
think it's, go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Mel.
John.
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say a lot of it too is also from what so I have an absolutely amazing therapist. My psychotherapist is a godsend. You know, she has
Mhm.
put up with so much shit for me, but also taught me so much. One of those things too is just that perspective of I'm just gonna listen, right? If you want my opinion, if you want my my 2 cents worth, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here. It's your dollar, quote unquote.
Mhm.
So I've learned that from her to the point where now it's the same thing with Mel. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna kill somebody at work kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, let me have it kind of thing. So again, it's a learned thing. It's not innate. It's not, when they say, you have a characteristic and stuff, it's not, I wasn't born as a sounding board. I had to learn to be one.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'm a fixer as well. That's the way I was raised to be. And I think through recovery, for me, what I realized is I'm still a fixer, but
Yeah.
I fix differently, meaning I'm what you're doing with Mel is right. You're still fixing her to give yourself that fixing feeling and acknowledgement, but you're fixing how she needs it to be. It's kind of this weird thing where it's you both your needs have been met. It just looks different than what it looked like before.
You're exactly right. It's basically I always felt that my importance and my worth was how I fix things.
Hmm.
So when Mel first came out and said, I don't need you to fix this, just listen, you're right. That mental sort of shift was, hey, I'm still fixing this.
Yes.
I'm still very important because she just needs me to sit,
Yes.
listen, and not say a damn thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it did. It still fed that, I don't know, I guess ego or that,
Yeah.
ability to, feel important stuff. But it also, again, was like, I need to show up the way she needs me to show up and be okay with it. So
And it's a power. We talk about power, in recovery and as we do this. And it's a power that I think is an unexpected power that you get in that where it's like, huh, wow, I never knew that I could just sit here and be silent and become more powerful. Right?
it's not to get it twisted, but there are so many times when Mel was like, "Don't say anything," and she'll talk, and all I want to do is,
He glitches.
"You want to
Yes.
fix this?"
Another thing too, I used to see Rob as an extension of myself.
Mm,
And I'm starting to see this, and I don't know if this is true for anyone else, but this is true for me. When I start to see someone as an extension of myself, I forget that they have autonomy.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I forget that speaking to them how I speak to myself has consequences.
Yeah.
So if I was harsh on Rob and critical and lots of things, because the things that some of these things that have come out of my mouth are hurtful
Hmm.
because I didn't see him as I saw him as an extension of myself.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
didn't see him as someone that has his own feelings, his own thoughts, his own opinions. They were all mine too.
Yeah.
And when I realized that that was one of the biggest factors, that calling him an asshole and calling him a dick during an argument and saying mean things, that doesn't help anything. And
Right.
I think a long time ago I made a decision to stop talking bad about him and stop complaining about him and stop saying all these mean things about him and being passive aggressive towards him, because it's not who I wanted to be in a marriage anyways, but it's not who I wanted him to have as a wife. He deserves better than that.
Yeah.
I
And I
think that's so important.
and I
And I,
and I and I now see what he deserves because he's a fucking good man. I am so lucky. Why would I want to hurt this good man? And I used to
But
stop it.
he can say this, he'd say this. I'm assuming he would say the exact same thing.
Nah,
well,
she's
but
Like,
okay.
I just I just want to say that Mel, you said you don't know if that's true for everyone else. And I just want to say that I think that is a major, major issue in our society. When we are children, especially our generations, we grew up believing that our significant other, our love, our life
mm,
partner was an extension of ourselves and was supposed to be an
mhm.
extension of ourselves.
We do it with our
And
children too,
Yeah.
right? Aren't they
yeah,
part of us? But they aren't part of us. They're not an extension of, they're their own beings.
and I think when we begin to look at someone we love as an extension of ourselves, that is absolutely when we begin to forget
Yeah.
who they are and what they want. And
You also,
that's where we become inconsiderate.
yeah, I think you also at that point in time too, when they're an extension of yourself, you are far more critical of that person.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Because, right, like Mel, you said, hey, you're not allowed to be mean to my husband. I will talk to myself a hell of a lot differently than I will talk to somebody else.
Oh, hardcore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a pivotal turning point for us when we would argue. That's how we learned how to talk to one another.
Mhm.
Because we would just stop. We realized you have a point of view, I have a point of view here. They may not be the same, but we can find a medium.
And they're both important. I think that
They
was the
both are important, both
yeah.
because like that. I think one of the when we both realized that two things can exist at the same time.
The
That
and
was
state.
huge.
Yeah.
That
It
was
was
huge for us.
it was learning that and statement rather than or. So it
Or
was like
but.
the sky is
Yeah.
blue and
And
gray.
Yes.
yeah.
So that really did help too.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing where we realized
So
that we didn't have to have the same opinion about things.
so kind of to wrap this up, I do have a question.
And
Right.
I have one too when you're done
Okay.
before we wrap up.
So a lot of showing up for each other over 33 years and learning to navigate that and have conversations and all of that. What does it look like now? Meaning, does it mean regular check-ins? Does it mean date nights? Does it mean what does that look like for you guys on a daily basis or a weekly basis to stay present in with each other?
Every day at 11:11, he sends me, "I love you."
Okay.
When I come home from work, he is standing at the door with a hug. "How was your day?"
Okay.
Um, we both always ask each other, "How can we make this better for you? What do I need to do to make this easier for you?" What else?
We give each other space and
Oh,
time.
space is
Mm.
big,
It-
big.
it's it's not necessarily a demand, but I know, and I've learned that, Mel comes from work. I give her the big hug to try and help regulate things, right? Give my positive energy, suck up some of the crap from her day. She has that sounding board, or we just talk something out. We have dinner, we play a game, and then we are both okay with Mel will go to the back room and she'll do a lot of her recovery work and stuff, journaling, all that kind of stuff. And she is okay with the fact that I go and I don't know if you want to call it disassociate, but I go downstairs and I play video games for an hour and a half. And then we know that at the end of the day, we come together, we'll lie in bed, sit in bed, we'll watch a show or two, and we're good with that, right? Because we know that that works for us. So I think it's just holding each other accountable for ourselves and then realizing that again, that same goal and focus is that we do this, going towards each other.
I don't have
Yeah.
the expectation anymore that he needs to meet my needs. That he does have he
No.
does have needs, I guess.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No.
No, I'm giggling because in my mind it just jumps in. I'm like, prescription medication helps a lot too.
Hey, hey, it's a fact. Come on.
No, but what I mean is like I don't put the expectation on him that he needs to do all these things. I know his like it's understanding each other's capacity.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
accepting it.
Accepting each other's capacity.
I think it's also yeah, you're right, that and a respect for the individual of who they are.
Yeah.
So again, it probably doesn't work for everybody else, but I know that, Mel goes to work, she works her ass off, she comes home, she is quote unquote bringing home the bacon. For me, because of, my personal issues and stuff, my responsibility is I take care of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have expectations on Mel to come home and even do dishes. I'm like, no, you've already worked, leave it be. That's sort of my realm. And at the same time, she doesn't have expectations of me, going out and trying to get a job and failing at it because she knows there's limitations involved. So that mutual respect of, sort of, and I've heard you guys say this before, take care of your own side of the street,
Yep.
is exactly why I think this really works for us. And again, a lot of it is, I joke about the prescription medication, but also that self-awareness and the work. Like I don't know if you ladies have done the same thing, but the amount of work I've seen Mel do for this is insane and it works. Like it works so well.
It works if you work it.
Oh, there you go. Hey, wow, I actually filled that in perfectly. But like she, without exaggeration, has journals all over the house that she jots in.
It's a thing.
Uh, yeah, I'd be like, "What are you doing in the back room?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm just doing recovery work." And I go in and I can hear her listening to other podcasts or audiobooks and that. So just to add on to it, that even though it seems from the outside to be a quote unquote perfect sort of picture, there's a lot of work to it.
Yeah.
And the work you've
So
done too,
Yeah, yeah,
baby.
yeah.
It's
that kind of leads into my question and I think a perfect way to wrap this up. One of the questions I've asked many people over the years, that I find in successful long-term relationships, and I'll never forget my grandmother's answer. I asked my grandmother, what is the secret to maintaining a 30, 40, 50-year relationship? My grandmother, dead serious answer was, you cannot both be ready to walk away at the same time.
Yeah.
What
Wow.
would you guys say, each of you in turn? I know you don't have the same opinion, or maybe you do, I don't know, but what would you say is the secret to maintaining this long-term relationship?
And is it a secret?
I don't think it is a secret. I think what it is that we always chose each other
Mhm.
and we worked hard to choose each other because sometimes the easiest choice sometimes was to walk away. But the love is there. And even though the love at times was really unhealthy, it looked really unhealthy, it was still there. And the thing about being unhealthy is you can turn that around. It's mendable, it's moldable. And communication. But I think mostly you have to choose yourself first and then it'll work out. So I think that the fact that we choose ourselves first and then we can come to each other, you know, somewhat healthy.
Mhm.
And then why? Why something? Because it's not a secret, right? We all know what we need to do. This is right. It's out there everywhere to hear, right? You got to show up for each other. You got to show up for yourself. You got to, why is it so fucking hard?
Do you agree with Mel's, Rob? Do you agree with Mel's answer to that? And not do
Uh,
you disagree, but is there something you would add, or do you have
A
a
good point. Yeah.
differing?
yeah, for me, I think it works because of prescription medication. No, it so it's funny is that I actually have had a lot of people say to me, and I mean, I've been a best man 3 times for three of my friends, and they have, I think each three of them have actually said to me, "How do you know?" And I always say for me is, if I look 10 years in the future, do I see Mel there? And if the answer is yes, then I know that it's the right thing. So it's worth the work. It's worth the effort. It's worth, all the ups and downs because I cannot see my life without Mel. Right. So kind of like what you touched on with your grandparents, or I think your grandmother said, you can't be both willing to leave at the same time. So it means that one person will fight. And as long as the other person's okay with that person fighting for it and then moving forward, I think it works great. So to answer your question, that's exactly what it is for me. It's just I mean it. Some
One
people
person.
believe, yeah, some people believe in that. It's your what is it? Your
Twin flame.
that or it's what is not your destiny, but when you
Soulmate.
say thank
Soulmate.
you, soulmate, right? Some people like there's no such thing. I truly believe. Like I said, at the age of 19, I said that's the person I'm going to marry, right?
He didn't
And
even know my name.
I didn't even know her name.
He thought my name was Mary.
Yeah, I knew it was an M, but yeah, so whatever. So yeah, I think it's just that investment in yourself and then the investment in the couple.
And I think too that we don't do well when we're both deregulated. So when we're both spiraling, it doesn't we do this away from each other. But if one person can anchor the other
Mhm.
person while they're doing this and just anchor, they can do this, but just be the anchor. And I can be there, I can be his anchor. I had to learn how to be his anchor. He had to tell me what it takes to be his anchor. I
Oh,
had to
yeah.
tell him, this is what I need you to be my anchor. And now we don't take each other's shit personally. I don't take his bad. I used to think his bad moods were my fault. What did I do? Oh, like I was always worried it was always about me. Now I've learned that he can have his fucking bad day. He deserves it. He's got a bad back. He's in a lot of pain. Maybe he tried to do something today and he wasn't successful at it. I've got to let him have that. That's his.
So
But
there's no,
I can anchor
my day
him
was
in-
worse than yours,
No,
Never, no.
no.
You can't do that.
But
right?
again, that's the communication, right? That's that key part of being able to say, I need this right now, or I just need that, or what do you need, and being able to feel okay talking about it.
Or sometimes both of us can look at each other and go,
Nope.
nope, I have no
Nope.
nope,
Not
And
today,
don't-
friend.
not today.
Ain't happening.
And we
I
know
d-
it's not the end of our relationship. We know just like right at the moment we both don't have it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but maybe this is a good time to take space.
I just want to say I love the interaction between you two, and I love this podcast has been amazing, and
has.
I've just gotten so much out of it. I just thank you, Rob, for being here,
Yes.
and
Oh God, my honor. I'm so happy to be part of this, and have a connection with Mel through this and through her work. And yeah, I mean, I'm always good for talking about myself.
I just appreciate you both for being here and doing what you do and just being yourselves, and
Thank you.
you guys are inspiring to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, thank you, listeners. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mel, for giving us this giving me. I'm just going to say, giving me the opportunity to get to know you and your relationship better. And I appreciate it. And I'm going to triple down on what I've said. Mel, you're amazing.
Well,
And
thank
I
you.
will now let you minimize yourself even less. You set yourself up for this, by the way.
Okay. All right. I know.
Love you guys.
I
Thank
love
you
you.
again.
Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
All right. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
You too, guys.
Bye.
Bye. We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workityouareworthit.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.